camera I'm talking about now is a camera which is sometimes forgotten as a quality camera, but it is a quality camera, and that camera is the Miranda FV. Miranda, some people associate them with a range of cameras that were sold by the chain of Dixons in the 1980s and 90s. However, they go back further, and in the 1960s they made these quality cameras. If we look at the FV, we have on this model a race viewfinder, so we look down and through. It did come with an eye level finder as well, and to release the race finder you press this little button here and then it will slide out like so, okay? A bit like the Nikon. Actually, I find the feel of this camera does remind me actually of a Nikon. It's a very solid feel. This camera I think was manufactured between 1960 and about 1968. This model, the FV, does not have a meter. We have shutter speeds from 1 second up to 1,000. We have this very nice counter window, which again reminds me of a counter window on a certain camera beginning with the letter N. We have this nice chrome finish. It is the lever there sounds obvious today, but some cameras didn't have that nice lever to wind back, so when we finished our film it's nice and easy to wind back the film. The lens is of reasonable quality. It's a 1.9 lens. Focusing is a little bit stiff on this particular camera. Interesting that we have two shutter releases. We have one at the front and we have one on top. And if you think of it, if you are using it from a race level, it's actually very useful to have it at the front. So in use, we manually load the film, focus, set our aperture, and according to our shutter speed. And as it hasn't got a meter, we either need to use a light meter or the sunny 16 rule, where if it's bright and sunny, it's 16 at 125 and we go down accordingly. To wind back the film, very conventionally, you press the button there. A flash would be a little bit of an issue. We have got a flash socket. You would have to use a bar and a separate flash here. I recently used a later model of this, and this model actually performed better. This is in really good working order, and let's have a look at the photographs I took on it. So I started with an indoor shot, and that's not a mistake. It's just that the light was very directional on this watercolour, and I think it gave it rather a dramatic effect. As you can see, what we can see is quite sharp and quite clear. The camera was looking hopeful at this stage of the developments. I soon took another photograph, and again the contrast and the tones I was very pleased with. This is taken indoors at about f4, I think it was, at 1/25 of a second, and I'm using, what am I using? I'm using Formapan 100 developed in ID11. The plan was to then go on a little walk around the town, and it was about 4:30 or 5 o'clock on a Saturday evening in early October. So the range of tones I was really pleased with. We had nice shadows. It was almost golden hour, so it was an ideal time to try this camera out. And the results, as you can see, are quite satisfactory. When I initially looked at the negatives, I wondered if they could be sharper, but actually I like the characteristics of this lens. It has got a little bit of a retro look, but we are looking at a camera probably manufactured in about 1964. So it's a good 50 years old. Here we have the Dinosaur Museum in Dorchester. Unfortunately, the dinosaurs to the side and we're looking rather in the shade. But you can see the poster there for the Dinosaur Museum. And here we have, again, I'm pleased with how the camera is operating. The only thing I've had against the camera is if you want to do portrait photographs, it's quite difficult to see through the prism, and you wouldn't ideally take the camera in such a view. Again, really pleased. Remember, this is a camera without a light meter, so you are having to use Sunny 16 rule. I did find the actual image rather small, and although it has got a magnifier, the magnifier needs a tiny bit of attention. So I think that was the only downside of using the camera. The good side of using the camera is this thing you can just look up and you see the real scene. The camera was sharp, it gives you a wide variety of apertures and good shutter speeds, so you can get a very acceptable result. Plus, being a Miranda, there are some other lenses around. There's not a lot, but you can buy a telephoto or a wide-angle lens. I've somewhere got a Sun wide-angle lens that I hope to try on this camera soon. So, in conclusion, I was really pleased with the results of this Miranda. As I said, it performed better than a later model I have. It is definitely a camera with a certain look, and it doesn't get the high price some other similar age cameras do. So if you find one that is working, why not have a go with it? Thanks for watching. Bye for now.